here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to show you how to make this nautical inspired summer bracelet using supplies from our sponsor Paper Mart. We'll be using this lovely rat tail cord, and don't let the name put you off because it's really elegant, satiny, awesome stuff. This bracelet is reversible. We have golden anchors on one side, and we have, as soon as I can get my bracelet off, I'll show you, we have silver anchors on the other, and we are going to do this by stamping and customizing some bamboo tiles. It's so easy and so fun. So the first thing I want to do, actually, we're going to use the brown rat tail cord 2mm from Paper Mart. It's about $8 a spool, which is about half of what you'd pay at the cheapest jewelry supplier out there, so that's good. I just wanted to show you this macrame cord in contrast. Macrame cord's available at the craft store. Your knots are really tight with it, which are great if you're making a plant hanger, but for a bracelet or any sort of jewelry where you need to be able to adjust as you go, it's not the best. So I just want to kind of show you the difference between this beautiful satiny cord and some of the macrame cord you may be able to find locally. This is definitely worth investing in and grabbing a few colors. I have ivory, black, and brown on hand because I find I use these colors the most. For bracelets, I would generally use black or brown because, you know, your hands are in everything. You get a lot of wear and tear. They're going to get smudged. They're going to get, you know, they might get a bit of dirt on them. The ivory I say for more wedding necklaces and things like that. Some things that need to be a little bit lighter and more delicate. So just to, to give you an idea, when you're looking at the choices, I mean, it comes in lots and lots of colors. You want to invest, because they're huge spools, you want to invest in something you're going to use more than once or twice. All right, so the first thing you're going to do with your tiles is you'll want to get a bead reamer, and this is basically like a very small round file, and you just go in the tiles. These tiles have 2 holes in them. They're from Art Deco, as well as the stamp that we're going to use to stamp on them. You want to make sure that it's really smooth on the inside of these tiles so your cord can slip through easily. So do that to each one of the tiles. And now it's time to stamp on our tiles. Gently tap your stamp onto your pigment ink pad. Don't smush it down hard or you're going to get way too much ink on there and it will make a mess. And tiles are kind of slippery and hard to stamp on. Then you want to hold your tile with one hand and hold your stamp with the other and gently press it to the back, and look, you'll get a very nice impression. Do that for each of these. And now we're going to coat them with embossing powder. This is silver. We'll do the other side with gold, so that way we'll have our reversible bracelet that will go with whatever other jewelry we happen to be wearing that day. I love that. And just go, don't worry about using too much because the excess will go back in the container. Just sprinkle it over the back. And then if you just blow on that, it'll take off the excess powder. Okay, I've removed the excess powder and put away my excess embossing powder, and now I am going to pick up my tile with my with the little file that we use to open up the center, and any little stray bits of embossing powder I see, I'm just going to flick off with a paintbrush, a dry, clean paintbrush. And now you simply need to heat it with a heat gun. It's only going to take a few seconds, and as soon as you see the powder start to go shiny, you want to just kind of move the heat gun around so it heats the whole thing up. And there, it's done. See how nice and shiny that is? You need to do that for every tile. Alright, there's our 3 silver anchors and our 3 gold anchors all completed. So now we need to prepare our work surface. Just use a plain clipboard, and you're going to need a little binder clip or something that you can help hold down your string. You're going to need 2 feet of the rat tail cord in your favorite color. I'm using brown. And what we need to do is burn the ends of this so that it becomes kind of like a stringing needle. So just take a lighter and just gently, this comes with a little bit of practice, you just gently want to drag the lighter along it just to kind of stiffen it up a little bit. And that's going to, because this is a satin cord, it's a synthetic cord, it will help stiffen it up so that it can fit through the holes of the tiles easily, since they are a longer tile. And we want to make sure when you string this out that we have all of the beads going in on the same direction. So why don't I just clip this down here for my own sanity, I guess. And I'm going to start threading my tiles on. I'm going to need to heat that up a little bit more. That I didn't quite stiffen that up enough. There we go. Alright, let's see how that one goes through. Much better. Alright, so we're going to put all 3 tiles on just like this. I'm going to go ahead and stiffen this one up a little bit more just to make sure it's going to not give me any grief. And continue on until you have every bead on your string. Now you're going to clip these, the ends of these beads. You're going to clip that string on the end of your board with a binder clip or whatever kind of clip you have. That's just going to hold it together while you're working. And now we need the string that we're going to knot. So we need about 5 feet of the rat tail cord. Because we have big beads. If you had smaller beads and you needed to do more knots to get you to the right end, you need to cut some more string. You'll see what I mean when we get to the end about how much string you use. The knots do take up quite a bit of space. So what I'm going to do is find the midpoint of my string by holding the ends together and pulling my thumb along. And this is what I'm going to tie up here to the top of my bracelet. Go ahead, just do like a regular knot, just like you were going to start to tie a bow or start to tie your shoelaces, just a regular old knot. And we can start our square knot. So I'm going to just peek under there, make sure that loop's not too big. We're going to have a toggle closure on this bracelet, which is going to be very easy to handle. Alright, so to make your square knots, this is also called the cobra stitch if you're making paracord bracelets, you're going to take one strand and make a loop over. Take the other strand and lay it on top of the first, then pull it under, and we're trapping those 2 cords in the middle underneath. Alright, so this time we'll go on the other side, we'll make our loop, we'll cross this one over, push it underneath, and tie it. It's just a basic square knot. I'm going to do that for a few more times, just alternating what side you start on each time, and then I'll show you what to do with the beads. Okay, let's put one more knot on there, and then we'll slide up our first bead. And just slide it up. Alright, and then we're going to keep on with our pattern. I'm going to put a square knot, a full square knot between both of these. So here we make our first tie, and then we do our second. Don't worry if that cord starts to go in front of your tile, that doesn't make any difference. Alright, then we're going to slide up our next bead and do the exact same thing. Remember to tie this twice, you alternate each time. That's how you make your square knot. Look how quickly this bracelet comes together. Alright, we'll do it the last one. Now the amount of knots you put at the top and the bottom is just basically how big you want your bracelet to be. If you have a smaller wrist, you're going to need more knots. If you have a larger wrist, you're going to need fewer. Also, if you decide you want to try different beads than what I used, then you'll need, whoops, I think I messed that up. I was getting sidetracked. If you use different beads than I did, you may need more knots to compensate for that. So just keep that in mind as you're working. You could try it on before you make your final knots. That way you'll know if it's gonna fit you or not. And so at this point, what I would do is take the bracelet off and just see how much more I need to do for it to fit around my wrist. Alright, so if I wrap that around there, I can see that I probably want another like ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch of knots there. So you want to kind of size it before you finish up. That way you'll know if it's going to be too big or too small for you. And if you lose track, like, so you're like, oh no, I just took that off, I forgot what side I was tying from. If you look, you'll see, if you could see that, there's, on the side you're going to make your loop, there will be a bump on top. So if you could see that bump right on top there where my thumbnail is, hope you could see that. It just looks kind of like, you could see the top of the knot, I guess it crosses over on top there. That's a side that you're gonna make the bump with, and you're gonna cross over with the other one, if that makes any sense. I know it's a little confusing until you actually do it. Once you do it, it becomes very clear. So do a few more knots until you get it to your desired length, and then I'll show you how to finish it off. Alright, I'm making mine a little bit longer than I would want it for myself just because I already have one and I'll probably give this to somebody else, and I have very small wrists. So what I have here is our finished knotted bracelet. We need to add the toggle on the end, so we'll need to choose a bead for that. I kind of like this red one, but I have some other choices too. I need to make sure I have something with a big enough hole for 2 strands to pass through. This is also kind of cool. Maybe I'll try this stone bead. Alright, so what you want to do is those 2 pieces in the middle that you had burnt the ends of, slide those through your toggle bead. See how easy that goes? Now it's up to you how you want the end to look, and what I'm going to do is actually divide the 2 strings in the middle, and I'm going to tie a knot. So I'm going to tie it so that I'm really trapping that bead in there. But, you know, there's a lot of different ways you could finish it off. It's, you know, a lot of personal preference. You could tie a knot and shove it into the hole and finish it off that way. You might want to put beads on the end of the dangly part so they can kind of dangle, like, and trim them the length you want and let them be dangly. What I usually like to do is just tie a really nice secure knot, and then I like to actually burn I'd cut the cord, so I got about 1/4 of an inch there. And then I'm gonna burn the end. I'm gonna melt it into the knot so that it almost looks like another bead itself. So this is how you do that. And I'm just gonna get those really almost on fire. This is a dark cord, so I don't have to worry so much about it about the darkness showing on that. And I'm just pressing it in. Really not the best idea to do it with a lighter, but I had a handy. You could do that with like a little piece of metal or something like that. And there we go. And then, you know, I could melt it a little bit more and fuss with it more off camera. So there is the silver side of our bracelet. There is the gold side. To close it, you simply pull your bead through your loop that you made at the beginning of the bracelet. And there you have it. And here is a closer look at our bracelet. I want to thank Paper Mart for sponsoring our video today. Check them out online at www.papermart.com, where we make you look even better. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.